So just the,
Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Police Service Board meeting for June 17th, 2026. Before we begin today's meeting, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge the tragic loss of 2 police officers recently who lost their lives in the line of duty. Constable Mark Pinizotto of the Toronto Police Service, Constable Taryn Bali of the OPP. Their deaths are a reminder of the courage, commitment, and sacrifice demonstrated by those who serve and protect our communities every day. On behalf of this board, I extend our deepest condolences to their families, loved ones, colleagues, and the entire policing community as they grieve this unimaginable loss. We honor their service, recognize the impact of their sacrifice, and reaffirm our unwavering support for all first responders who continue to carry out their duties with professionalism and dedication in the face of risk. May we keep these officers, their families, and their fellow members in our thoughts in the days ahead. Please take a moment of silence to think about these fallen officers. Thank you very much. Okay. Continue on here with our roll call. Looks like we have all members present. Approval of the agenda. We have a recommendation that the June 17th, 2026 Police Service Board meeting agenda be approved as circulated. Moved by Member Grantham, seconded by Member Rowe. All in favor? Fantastic. Any declarations of pecuniary interest for this meeting? Okay, seeing none. Reading, correction, approval of minutes. Recommendation that the minutes of May 19th, 2026 general meeting of the Strathroy-Caradoc Police Service Board be approved as written. We have a mover and a seconder for that. Moved by Member Brennan, seconded by Member Rowe. All in favor? Thank you very much. Okay, I will now pass the meeting over to Chief Campbell.
Thank you very much, Chair Hall. You know, there's about a presentation to occur when the board chair and the secretary all leave their seats. So first of all, I want to acknowledge the chair's acknowledgement of the 2 fallen officers. It's been a horrible week and a half, learning of the 2 senseless deaths. You know, our organization is a very small but tightly knit, family-oriented sort of service. That's the way that we've constructed our organization to be really reflective of the community that we serve. And so, you know, tomorrow we have 12 of our members attending the first of the 2 funerals, and I'm sure that we'll have a similar amount attending next week in Toronto when Constable Pinizotto has his funeral. The timing, it's sort of unique in that we're here to celebrate Constable Buck in his heroic efforts from an incident in early June here in our community. But we were chatting in the office today, and I think in the news story you learned that Constable Pinizotto was a fairly distinguished hockey player, and as is Constable Buck. And how, you know, the hockey community is a small community as well, and actually there's a fairly close friendship and collegial sort of awareness between Constable Buck and the Pinizotto family, along with some of our other members who had a career over in Europe where they had a chance to sort of play together and get to know each other. So it's just the world we live in, right? The 6 degrees of separation, and so it hits a little bit closer to home on that. So I thank you for that acknowledgement. But we're here on a different note, and that's to, again, as I say, celebrate Constable Buck and his actions on the evening of June 2nd. So before I get started, I'll invite Constable Buck up to stand here and feel awkward in front of the group. Right here on the X. And again, a sign of age when you have to put glasses on to read stuff, right? So I've got sort of 2 parts of this. There's sort of a kind of a formal sort of, I'm going to read some stuff, but then I'm going to interject some stuff sort of, I wouldn't say ad lib, but sort of more informal. So on June 2nd, 2026, at approximately 10 p.m., Constable Brandon Buck was off duty and was in the north end of Strathroy when he observed flames coming from a residential property on Abigail Street. Without hesitation, Constable Buck immediately contacted 911 and attended to the burning house, where he alerted the occupants to the fire and assisted in safely evacuating the residents. Members of the Strathroy-Caradoc Fire Department responded quickly and were able to contain and extinguish the fire, preventing further damage and ensuring the safety of all those involved. And thankfully, there were no reports of any serious physical injuries as a result of the incident. So those sort of just some formal comments. What I really want to highlight, though, is who we have here with us today. So, and I'm going to go a little informal. I'm just going to call him Brandon, not Constable Buck. He's joined here today by his wife, Ashley, his 3 children, Elodie, Bexley, and Liam, who I think we all could agree are skipping school to be here with him. Along with Brandon's parents, Sandy and Dell. So again, reflective of the commitment, the strength of family, again, not only as an organization, but what our members, who our members are. So there are some other details that aren't sort of in the official police report that I think are important to sort of highlight here. What was happening on the night of June 2nd always starts with a hockey story. So someone is up watching a playoff game. The Leafs weren't playing. But it was one of those nights where, again, Brandon described it was kind of a cooler night, so the windows were open. And he's up watching the game, him and Ashley, and he hears some noise outside. And like any good husband, turns to his wife and says, "Is it raining outside? Is something happening outside?" As opposed to, investigating himself. But that awareness to the sound led him to then go and discover, by looking out the window and seeing the actual flames in his neighbor's backyard. Without hesitation, he goes out of his house immediately to the neighbors and discovers his neighbor is watching the hockey game as well. And again, without hesitation, doesn't knock, doesn't seek to sort of, hey, let me in. Immediately just walks into his neighbor's house, realizing and understanding the emergency that is unfolding. Discovers that his neighbor's wife, who wakes up early to go to work, is already asleep in a back bedroom near where the fire has commenced, along with 2 teenage children. So it's through those actions, that promptness, that sort of just jumping into the flames, literally, to make that notification to the family and to divert us away from potentially a really tragic event happening in our community. Brendan represents a lot of people in our organization. He has ties to this community, deep, deep ties. He and his family have chosen to continue to reside here. And as we see, his family and his children are here, who are vital members to this community. And as an organization, we see the real value, the importance of surrounding our organization with people who have those connections to our community, who aren't just employees of the municipality, but are invested in being here and ensuring that this community remains safe, whether you're in formal on-duty activities or even just sitting at home watching a hockey game late at night. His decisiveness, his bravery, his being adaptable, all add up in my eyes to being a hero. And this is what a hero looks like when someone jumps into action selflessly to save and to protect those who aren't aware of what's going on. And so I just want to finish in saying we strive as a service to ensure that our members are reflective of those qualities, of those characteristics. And it's a great honor for me to present Brandon with a chief citation for his actions on June 2nd. Congratulations. So on behalf of the service, again, it's a pleasure to present Chief Citation to Constable Buck.
Would you like your family in the photo?
We can, yeah, sure.
Yes, we would.
Yeah.
I got the photo, by the way.
Just as a side note, Maria is a big Columbia fan, and there's a watch party tonight where she's invited everyone to the game to watch.
It's coming up. Don't move so quickly.
They don't want to go back to school.
Yeah.
So we'll.
What do you guys want in the front? What do you
I know, I just.
Ready, looking up here. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Love the smiles.
I'm just gonna, sorry, I'm gonna take a photo.
Now pretend you like each other.
Smile.
Hey, come on, just get smiles going there.
Thank you.
Sorry, we'll get one more. Brett, are you able to?
Move over this, move over this.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. Nice smiles. Awesome.
I think before everyone departs, the mayor has a few comments I'd like to make.
No, thank you. And Brendan, it doesn't surprise me to see you jump in because, as you know, I watch the Jets. I've never seen you run from a scrum or a strap. So, congratulations. And I didn't realize we're neighbors because I came across the fire that evening. But I just, on behalf of the community, I want to congratulate you. But I want to echo Chief Campbell's comments about our police service and the sense of community that we have here in Strathroy-Caradoc. I say two things. We take pride in many things, many things, but our local hospital being one, but our police force is the other that I take myself and the community a great deal of pride in because we're very fortunate to have people like yourself who grew up here and live here in this community. So on behalf of the municipality as a whole, thank you very much and look forward to watching you again in the fall. Take care.
Thank you very much, Chief. We're going to continue on with the meeting. Everybody is more than welcome to stay and listen to reports, or if not, we can get 30 seconds. Don't everybody leave at once. Oh, okay. Well, where's the numbers?
I just
John's got it right.
That's why they were here.
I knew they were not when I walked in the door.
I don't want to stay. There's some riveting stuff coming up. Okay, perfect. We will continue on. So number 6, we got a review of the monthly police service reports. I will open it up to Chief Campbell there if he has any comments to make on 6.1 to 6.6, and then we'll open it up for some questions from the board members.
Thanks, Chair. Again, just some highlights from those monthly reports. Again, in the activity report, again, we're certainly building some momentum in regards to some of the charge summary related data. And again, highlighting, and Constable Everett was in the audience today. He is our traffic specialist, traffic officer. You'll see that we are continuing to see a positive trend in our enforcement numbers, which again has a reciprocal effect on some of the other areas, specifically collisions and such that we've certainly highlighted and talked about in previous meetings. You'll see our total charges to date, year over year, over the last 4 years, is trending upward, which again is a sign of the dedication and the commitment to ensuring that, specifically in road safety, that we are consciously making sure that we are dedicated to those areas. In the criminal investigation report, there are 2 incidents there. Again, I just want to quickly skim through. This week you would have saw a social media post regarding the execution of a search warrant. Comprehensive investigation, not only in the execution of a criminal search warrant, but also the seizure of some electronic devices that our members are continuing to explore in regards to the collection of additional information that will help substantiate the charges that have been made. And then the bullet point just below that one, again, just highlighting the how much crime sort of moves from area to area to area. And this specific incident talks about the LCBO thefts that unfortunately our community has not been available to stay away from. But again, the intelligence sharing and the information sharing, not only at the regional level, but at the provincial level through our involvement with the Criminal Intelligence Service, really aids in furthering those investigations. And then the last area I just wanted to sort of, I guess 2 other areas. I wanted to highlight in the court clerk. You'll see the tremendous amount of activities that go into the in-car camera and the body-worn camera redactions, which really is an evolving activity within the organization. So whether that's in regards to freedom of information requests and having to go through that data, but mostly it's about court preparation and ensuring the evidence we are sharing has been reviewed, and sensitive or information that isn't required as part of those court documents are redacted out. And then in the last one, I just wanted to again highlight the great work of both our MCERT and our community services officer. The one area I wanted to highlight was the fact that Constable Bravender attended the London Police Headquarters for the flag raising in the 2SL LGBTQIA plus flag raising. And on July 4th, members from our organization will be here participating with Strathroy Pride as they raise the flag here in honor of their event that weekend in the park. So I know that there has been a lot of recent news stories regarding mischief and other incidents at the regional level, and I think it's important as a police leader to ensure that we maintain a strong voice of support for all community members as they continue to be able to express their beliefs. So I'll leave it at that unless there's some questions from the board.
Chief, anybody have any questions for the chief about those reports?
Thank you. More of a comment actually on the use of force report with 0, which I find really good. I'm not sure if it speaks to, I think it does, how safe our community is, and also the training of our officers. I just had comments to have a use of force for a month in a mid-sized community like ours. To have a 0 is to me pretty amazing. So more of a comment.
Thank you. Yeah. Anybody else? Number on.
I have 2 questions for the chief, and it's in the CID report, and the very first bullet point, I don't have it up right now, but it talks about the fraudulent claim that was brought forward in our area, and I believe that then triggered the further exposure in all of Ontario. And I guess my question is, do you feel there's more exposure of this type of fraud, and I'm not too familiar with the situation in our area, that might not be brought forward yet? Like they're talking about over 1 million in Ontario on this type of fraud situation?
Yeah, so through the chair to Member Hahn, the complexity of online fraud investigations continues to sort of just grow in complexity. And as more and more people sort of exist, I'll call it, on social media platforms, that's where the criminal element has sort of gravitated to, because it's more of the platform, I guess for lack of better terms, of where people are just doing and interacting. A lot of the frauds that certainly have the big value often relate to construction equipment, other sales of merchandise. And so I'll call it, with the advent of AI, it is becoming even more challenging to determine what is actually legit versus created or manufactured. Part of this activity for police organizations is about information sharing and education about how to help protect yourself from becoming a victim. We've seen this play out where seniors are often targeted, not obviously related to the sale of big ticket items, but more lesser values, but collectively add up to be very impactful. So again, we will continue to try to sort of, and I know that Constable Lockwood has participated in 3 or 4, I believe it is, in-person community events, education, information sharing events, where she's trying to make connections and reach out to people to provide them with valuable information to protect themselves and never become a victim of fraud, certainly online fraud. But I just think that this is an area where those who are perpetrating these crimes see a lot of opportunities to sort of conceal some of their activities just because of challenges about where people are on the internet.
Thank you. I think I'm understanding the type, because it was 90,000 and I was going, is there more opportunity in our community that there would be others involved in this type of fraudulent activity? And I know, as you said, they're very specific with online requests, and whether it's through merchandise or equipment, like you said. My second question is in regards to the budget. And the one area I was looking at was the IT. And I know as a board we had talked about contracting out the IT, and it's the second line under the IT budget. And right now we had, I think, brought a budget forward of approximately $226,000, and at the end of the May we're at $284,000. Would you be able to give us an idea what we might expect on this contracted IT for the end of December? Like, would it be double that amount? Should the board be aware that this is maybe going beyond a little bit of our initial expectation? Thank you.
Yeah, so an excellent question, and through the chair to Member Hahn. So a lot of the expenses that you see there are front-loaded in regards to the NG 911. So there was a grant funding that was received through the service or through the board for $1.4 million that was divided out between operation and capital expenses. So a lot of the operational expenses that have occurred so far this year relate to the NG 911 funding, where we have uploaded or front-loaded a lot of those expenses to be ready for, I believe it's an October of 2026 transition to the new NG 911 platform. So a lot of those are items related to that project specifically that have occurred based on that funding that we got from the grant funding.
So I likely misunderstood the word contracted IT. I thought we were partnering with an IT company to assist us with streamlining operations and efficiencies. So maybe I did not realize this related to the NG program.
Yeah, so within that budget line, the cost for the contracted IT, which a majority of his activities now relate to the NG 911 project.
Okay.
Those expenses were budgeted for part of the grant application and therefore are applied through that line.
So you mentioned they're front-loaded, so likely that 284 is going to stand for the year, a little bit further increase?
Yeah, so I don't anticipate any substantial increases in that contract. Like I say, a lot of those expenses have been earmarked towards the NG 911 project specifically.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for the chief on those reports? If not, do we have a mover and a seconder then to accept 6.1 to 6.6 information? Moved by member Grantham, seconded by member Brennan. All in favor? Fantastic. Okay, moving on, number 7, staff reports. We'll go through these one at a time. We'll pass it over to chief or deputy chief. Whoever wants to talk about the June staffing update, 7.1.
Thanks, Chair. I'll maybe defer to the deputy.
Good morning. So, Detective Constable Amanda Oshar, I'll speak to her or speak about her directly. So, she has chosen to move to LaSalle Police and has accepted a position with them effective, I believe it's August 31st. So she will be leaving our organization. It's a loss for us, but it's for personal reasons that she's moving back that way. And then recently we had a former communicator look to regain employment with us. So she started with us on June the 10th and is currently doing some refresher training and will be in our communications center.
Super. Any questions for that update before we vote to accept the update? Member Hahn?
I also wanted to ask, I saw through Facebook that there was a position, I believe, administrative, reporting directly to the chief. Is that a retirement coming up?
Yeah, so through the chair to Member Hahn, our current executive assistant, Tammy DeBoer, has informed us that she will be retiring. She will be with us till, I believe it's September, October, but she's backing up a lot of her time and will be basically cleaning out her office by the end of August. So we certainly see some value in starting a recruiting process now.
Sure.
To have some transition time, some training, mentoring time. We're peeling back that onion to proceed down that path of inviting applications and then going through that process of a hire.
And how many years has she been in that position? Approximately?
Yeah, so the deputy is about 2005, so just over 20 years.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, do we have a mover and a second, and we'll accept to receive that update as information. Member Rowe, second member Hahn, all in favor? Okay, 7.2, the construction tender award for police headquarters. And we'll throw that back to the chief and to Mike.
Thanks, Chair. And again, I will defer this report and introduction to the deputy who has been really the steward of leading us to the point we're at. And again, I think I don't need to introduce Mike, but I will. Mike Holt from A-Link, who has been certainly working hand in hand with the deputy as they sort of processed or proceeded through this process. Sorry, with the building initiative.
I'm just gonna touch on some quick notes here. I'm not gonna go through the entire report. Basically, this has been in the works since, I believe, 2023, working with A-Link. We went out to tender, what was that, about 5 or 6 weeks ago. We posted it through the Middlesex County bids and tenders, and we received 8 qualifying bids back, with the lowest being the amount shown here, 7.795 million plus HST, when the highest being almost 12 million plus HST. All of the bids were reviewed by A-Link, and they all met, or sorry, the one that is being recommended did meet all of the requirements, and it's been proposed that Barabo Construction London Limited be awarded the tender in the amount of 7.795 million plus HST. And I will leave it open for questions.
Thank you. Yeah, Member Grantham.
Yeah, thank you. Just want to, through you to Deputy Chief, just want to ensure that we follow the municipal procurement policy and that we did work with the county procurement officer.
Yeah, through the chair to the mayor. Yes, that is in fact accurate. We went through the process. A-Link worked directly with the county and assisted them through that process. So it was as per the guidelines.
Thank you. Member Hahn.
This is a large contract, and I wondered if you could advise the board. I'm not familiar with Barabo Construction. I understand they're out of Dorchester or some area there. Have they done previous work in our Strathroy-Caradoc area? And maybe just a little bit of a background on them.
And I'm going to defer that to Mike.
Everybody, so I will answer that question, but a few other stats as well, just for everybody. So the tender closed on June 4th. It's a 90-day hold on the price. That's how the tender is written. So they will hold their price for that long, so you have time to make a decision. It's the same thing like what we did for the fire hall, West Middlesex repairs, all the projects we've done with the municipality to date. So that puts you at September 2nd. So if you delay, obviously that pushes construction into the fall, which has its own challenges. There's something to be aware of for that. As Deputy Chief mentioned, 8 compliant bids. It was an open tender. But it was also, we also asked for qualifications. This might answer your question. There was 3 project references that had to hit a threshold of at least 7.5 million. That would be the low price range, if that makes sense, and above. So we were looking for qualified bidders, as well as people that have, or companies, excuse me, that have experience doing police, fire, EMS, so institutional type projects. So they provide the references. As a company, A-Link, we have worked with Barabo. Again, I have to be unbiased in this situation, but we have worked with them on projects in the past, mainly church projects, because we do a lot of church projects, as my firm does, but they also do institutional projects. Currently, they're working on, which under construction is the Middlesex County Admin Office, which is basically at the 401 and like Exeter Road in London, so it's quite a substantial project, which backs onto the shares the property with the EMS police OPP station, if that makes sense. So they have done work in that realm. Again, low compliant bid is a very competitive bid. When we looked at all the bids, it's typically what we do. We look at what the median price was. We also compare it against the estimates that we created or that we had developed through the different milestones. So like all our projects, we want to have those checkpoints to figure out if the budget and the scope align. So for reference, the Class A cost estimate was 10.5 million. And obviously Barabo is under that at 7.7. The next one I think was 8.3 or 8.2, and then it was like 8.5, 8.7, 8.9. So when we see those numbers as a whole, we see it's quite competitive. I think there was at least 20 plus contractors at the walkthrough. So contractors were looking for work. So the way I see this is a really, really good price. It's well under the estimate, which is amazing. And they meet all the requirements. They have the insurance, they have the bonding, all that is requirements, a part of the project as well. And also just something else to keep in mind, allowances, which are a value that all the contractors have to carry in the bid. It's actually 1.3 million of allowances. So what does that include? It includes furniture, like fixtures, IT, a bunch of other items that everyone has to carry, so it's like for like. So technically their bid is actually 6.4 million plus the allowances of 1.3. That's how you get to that. So again, very, very, very competitive. And then the other, I guess, stats, to finish up, a part of it, they have to provide a construction schedule, a part of their bid, so they provided that. They said 15 days to mobilize, so basically 2 weeks, which is pretty much understanding for most GCs. And they mentioned a 44-week construction schedule, which is about 11 months. Now, obviously, that will depend on weather and when they start, because the first thing you have to do is actually excavate and put the foundations in. So the longer you wait, the worse the weather gets to do that work. So anyways, open up to other questions as well. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, member Brennan.
Thank you. Thrilled to see a project come in under budget. And so far, say 600,000. I'm wondering if you could give me a little bit more information about, there's the oversight fees of 100,000, and then a potential secondary contract project manager cost of 100,000. Is the first 100,000 oversight fees, is that for a project manager, and then you include a potential secondary contract project manager of 100,000? I'm just wondering if you could give clarification to those, and whether or not the secondary one is something that will actually be charged, because it says potential.
So those are high-level estimates at this point. The way we have set up our service agreement with the municipality is hourly rates. So basically I took what our hourly rate would be for the next year or so, and I said it's about 100K. And I used that extrapolating off of the fire hall and how long that took. Now the fire hall took a lot longer than this construction schedule, so I'm basing that 100K, which I think it actually in the end is probably closer to 80, because that has to include the engineering consultant. So what does that mean? While projects are under construction, we will have someone at A-Link, actually be Brendan Agar, who did the CA, the construction administration for the fire hall. So and he's our main CA partner with the firm. He would be doing bi-weekly reviews on site with the contractor, with Barabo if they get awarded, as well as the client representative. So you have bi-weekly construction meetings. On top of that, we review all the shop drawings, so everything that goes into a building, whether it's that light fixture or that camera or those window blinds, there's a shop drawing that the contractor has to provide to us. We review that, so that's like an office function. We send it back, so does it meet the specs? Does it meet the requirements? And then we send it back, so then they can order the product. So that's shop drawing review. That's standard part of construction administration. There's the site visits as well, as I mentioned, so there's the site aspect of coming to the site, visiting, doing site reports, and our general review for permit. We then submit it to the building official. So that's a part of our project as well. The other part of it is actually the progress draws. So what will happen for construction, each month, at the end of the month, the contractor will provide a breakdown of all of the work that they've done, itemized, in each of the categories. So concrete, masonry, framing, drywall, stuff like that, insulation. We, as we go to the site, we have the draw, and we say, oh, you're claiming for 50% of the drywall. Have you done 50% of the drywall? That's a part of our process as well. We review that. We then provide a certificate of payment to, for instance, the clients in this situation, for then paying the contractor. So we certify payments as well. That's a standard part of all construction administration. Those would be the main items that we provide. So basically what you get from our firm, and this is standard process, and it would just be based off of our hourly rate, is construction administration services. And so that's the same that we provided again for all our projects. The fire hall is a great example. Now there was some discussions of a separate project manager from the police end. I threw a number at it. I said, okay, well, if you have to hire a project manager separate from A-Link, I mean, I can't make that decision for you. You'll have to make that decision. But what would the value be? Well, it's maybe a day of work a week. So I just calculated that off of a base hourly rate based off of their 44-week schedule. It's 30 to 40 grand, we'll say, because you just need a high level number at this point. Now here's the challenge. How do you hire that person? You have to hire that person now. Let me rephrase that. You have 90 days to make a decision, and the longer you wait, it pushes construction out. You haven't locked in the bidder. When you issue a letter of intent to them, you have now locked them into their price, their dates, everything they said they're going to do. We would then also write up the construction contract. It's a CCDC2 construction contract, standard construction contract, which we would then write up. We would need all their insurances and bonding and all that, and then we bind it and we actually have everyone sign it as well. So that's also part of our standard process.
Perfect, thank you.
So I guess the follow-up question is, do you need this board at this point to commit to the idea that we are hiring a potential secondary contract project manager? Like, are we just saying, like, tonight, do we have to say, like, it's not potential, we're giving you the green light to hire somebody, so you're actually going to have them when you need them? I'm just wondering about timing.
Well, I guess this is all my opinion, right? So the question is, so Deputy Chief Brent, who's been amazing on this project, he's been involved in the project the whole time. Project managers that are separate from us, A-Link, because we're the consultant, right? We're working for the owner or the municipality in this situation as well. When you hire a project manager as a third party, it's really great to have them at day one. They're involved in the project. They know what's happening. They know the decisions that are made, the reasons why we made these decisions. The whole project really has been A-Link, so myself and a few other team members, Brent, and obviously all the engineering consultants, and then Mark as well early in the project, as well as a few other key staff members looking in on the project, provide their input. So hiring a project manager separate, I kind of asked Brent, and I think he filtered it up and back down again, is what are you actually looking for the role of them to do? And I asked for that because there may be overlap of what we're doing already.
Exactly.
So the fire hall, again, I'll use that as an example because it's a local project. Was Rob Wilborn involved in the project? For sure. He was involved in the project day one. So was Chief Brent Smith at the time, which then went to Chief Beasley. So there was the fire input and there was the municipal input. This project has been run separately where, Rob and his team have been really at arm's length, which is fine. They're not really involved in this project. But, we worked together fine and it all worked out in the end, right? I do wonder what a project manager what they'll do, because I'm going to be doing all the work as I outlined already, and then I would give it to the project manager, who would then turn and give it to, someone has to approve the progress draws. How much work is it additional? I would say there is additional work for whoever the staff person is from the client's end, for sure. There's additional work above and beyond your day-to-day work or whoever you hire to do this. Is it any more or less than what we already did through the design? I would say no. So again, I'm not sure what the value is in the project manager, but I'm kind of biased in that I could see them just pushing paper back and forth and actually making it harder to get answers. You're adding a middleman, honestly, for not, or middlewoman for not any value. I don't know what the value is. Go ahead.
Thank you.
But just 1 second, I know, Peter, you had your hand up there before for comment. I'll get to
Yeah, just to follow up on the conversation that was just had, I guess I would view, an additional project manager as a bit of a superfluous situation, because just added cost, and as you said, I'd be concerned about.
It's kind of too late, honestly.
Well, I'm concerned about the timing.
Yeah, well, there's that too. You'd have to hire someone.
Decision-making alone.
Yeah.
As the project progresses.
Yeah.
And that leads to my follow-up, and that would be my initial thought. You know, I know there's a lot of construction going on everywhere right now. I see it every day. I'm out on the road. And I'm wondering about the supply chains for materials and so forth, and if that could lead to delays in the project beyond the 44 weeks, and what impact that would have on the project cost overall.
So I'll answer that one. So the whole reason why you want to lock the contractor in, because they can get moving. They will mobilize, they'll start stripping the site, they'll start doing the formworks for, the first thing we have to do, the way this project as well, it's phased, right? So we are building the addition first, which involves the foundations, the slab on grade. There's no basement in this. You put up the skeletal system, so the steel structure, you clad it, you waterproof it. The addition now is, it's a shell. We would then upgrade and do the interior, if you will. The intent is to get that occupied, because we have to move staff from the communications into the new communications. We have to move IT from the old into the new. There's a bunch of integration that has to happen, and then the renovation can happen inside the building for the other spaces. So there's 3 phases to this project. Now, for the delays of materials, yes, that can happen. The intent is if they get moving right away, they start providing shop drawings for the long lead items, is what we call them. So a great example is hollow metal door frames. They take about 6 to 8 weeks to get, right? And as a good contractor, they know when they need them on site. So they have to work backwards from there, get them ordered, so there's no delays. Because you do build in sequence. Now the GC, we hold their feet to the fire really and push them on giving us a schedule, and also gives a schedule for long lead items, so you know which ones have to be ordered first. That's all part of our kickoff meeting that we would have with them. Yeah, we try to look for, and be more proactive, I would say, so we don't get the delays.
Would any of the, excuse me,
Go ahead.
would any of the items for construction become crossing the border from the U.S.?
So one of the main items definitely would be coming from the U.S. Because we don't make them in Canada, is rooftop units. So your air handling units, typically they're coming out of Texas. Like Carrier is a big example. I'm sure you've seen that name before. I believe their plant is in Texas. So there are some products. When we spec our products as an office, we typically try to do Canadian where possible. I know there's the new-ish Buy Ontario Act, Bill 72. We're not because of when the tender went out and when that came into law, we are not saddled, I guess, by that bill. But as an office, we typically spec things that are local because it makes sense and it's also sustainable to do that. But in some situations, you really can't because we don't make everything here, unfortunately, in Ontario or Canada.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Member Hahn.
I also support the previous comments made by the board on duplication. What I would like to maybe look at that 100,000, and I'm not sure what that amount is, but to provide support for the deputy chief during this big construction phase. The administrative, the clerical, that's all on, I'm not exactly sure if you have the support clerically or administratively to assist you, so that the deputy chief keeps his focus still on our policing services. So that's a comment. I don't want to find out that there isn't a project manager and that we have burdened our deputy chief from a standpoint of not having the time for his policing services role.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Chief, you have a comment?
Yeah, just to touch on that. It is a little bit of work. I wouldn't say that it really is strenuous on my day-to-day operational duties. Yeah, is it more? It is. I make it work, and I'm quite happy to do that.
Do you believe during the construction period it would take more time? I mean, there's a lot of activity happening, and who's the point of call? It would be you. But often they go to the deputy chief first if you're. Or am I wrong?
No, so the way the construction contract is set up, the contractor doesn't actually have direct contact with the owner, except when we sit in around like the site trailer for the construction meetings.
Good.
So as we are the arbitrator of the construction contract as the prime consultant. So what does that mean? If a change comes up on site, we document it, we basically write up the change, we'll get a cost from Barabo, for instance, then we'll present it to the owner and say, hey, this is fair and reasonable, this is definitely something that we could consider, and then you can yay or nay it. It's purely just checking it off. That's actually the work. The site super should never be talking to any of the staff. That's clearly written in what they bid on.
Very good to know.
So there's a chain of command in construction as well, just like there is in policing. So we have to make sure to do that, because we really don't want is the owner, it's protect the contractor, and it's actually technically protect the owners, both. You don't want the owner saying, oh yeah, just do that, you're here, fix that over there. You don't want that. That's unfair to the contractor, and you don't want the contractor bugging the owner daily, because in this, it's a reno addition, so you are kind of living on top of each other. That's one of the challenges with these projects, is you have to operate in a building that's under construction. So, yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
Sorry, if I may just
Yep.
top up on a comment. You know, the deputy I know is very diligent in his day-to-day activities. In a way, I feel this is a bit of a payback for spending the last year as with the OACP. That now it's my turn to be more present and supportive of the deputy as he sort of undertakes this. So, are the timing of this project launching? The past year that I had, it coincides where it's.
Very good. Good
I
comment.
think that we're in a good spot.
Thanks, Chief. That one more comment from this, or Member Brennan.
So then am I hearing then that it would be a consideration that we should strike the $100,000 for the secondary contracted project manager from what we're doing?
That was going to be my next.
Is that what I'm understanding? Because
Yeah, oh, sorry, Mike.
yes.
That's an estimate for what our fees are, because again, we're hourly, right? Our hourly rates, so I threw a high level number at it. So that's what that 100K is. It's the 40.
The second one.
We have one in our agenda here, a recommendation for a secondary 100,000.
What's secondary? Okay. I just want to make sure that the soft costs are situated.
yours-
Okay.
No, yours is in.
It's purely just based off
You're
of.
not going anywhere.
I know, but if the contractor takes more than 44,
Potential
as you know,
secondary.
it's like, yeah.
No, understood. Yeah, I'm in agreement. I think we removed that line, the extra 100,000, and we keep the services of A-Link.
Yeah. In other words, to delete the potential secondary contracted project manager cost of $100,000 from what we're passing.
Sure.
If that would
Yes.
require,
Yeah.
if you're requiring a motion.
I'm going to read out the recommendation,
Okay,
then we'll have
great.
someone do a move for it. Okay, so the recommendation now is that the board receive report POL-2026-13 for information, and further that the board approve the awarding of the tender to Barabo Construction London Limited for a value of $7,795,000 plus HST, and further that the board approve a contingency fund to address unforeseen circumstances that may arise for a value of $880,891.50. And further, that the board approve funds for the ongoing project management services of A Plus Link Architecture in the amount of $100,000. Okay, do we have a mover for that? Moved by Member Rowe, seconded by Member Hahn. One comment?
And could we include in the motion then that the total project cost then is 9.789 as opposed to 9.889?
Correct, yes,
So if we
9.789.
include in the motion the 9,789,000, just so there's no confusion.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, and then Mike, before we.
Sorry, I don't want to script your motion, but the project contingencies, you may be asking, why do we have that? So typically in projects, especially renos and additions, there are some unknown, unforeseen conditions. Like we have only so much information, and you definitely want, as an owner, to have an invisible cost to the GC. That's why they didn't carry that type of a contingency in their allowances. It's invisible. So what that means, if things do come up, let's say we find bad soils or I don't know, something that's buried. Then as a board, you have decided that, hey, we have this little slush fund, you don't have to come back for every little change. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, perfect, thank you very much. Okay, the motion's been seconded for that decreased amount. Do we have a vote for all in favor of that motion? Perfect, carried. Thank you very much.
$700,000.
Okay, moving on to 7.3, Communication Center staff update. Pass it back to the chief.
Thanks, Chair. So again, the report that is in front of you, I think hopefully speaks to the issues, the areas of concern, challenges for the organization. If I can, just in a real brief fashion, sort of highlight those three real sort of areas. We have been through a cycle of looking for staff members for our communications center, who often come in as part-time members. We have a extraordinarily high rate of people who don't meet the ability or have the ability to do the job. It is a tremendous challenge. It's a stress on our recruiters, on those who participate in the hiring process. For example, doing interviews, one-on-one interviews, panel interviews, background investigations. And then we have another group, our communicators, who act as trainers, who spend weeks, sometimes months, training people, and then they get flushed out because they can't meet the requirements. We have an environment where there are competitors at the regional level who are also looking for qualified, competent communicators, whether it's in the EMS field, the fire dispatch field, or policing centers. There are a number of which who are in the same proverbial boat we are of recruiting, training, and retaining people, and they're struggling, they're challenged with it. We have a current complement of part-time staff who we see this as an opportunity to secure and maintain their commitment to our organization over a longer period of time if we're able to provide them a full-time opportunity. The second piece is, and I briefly sort of mentioned this a little bit, the requirements, the job-specific task. It takes a long time to acquire not only the skill set, but the confidence to be able to be a 911 operator. It's a very unique part of a police or a emergency services operation. And so when you find those people who are good at it, you want to try to maintain and keep them. This board has been tremendous over the last number of years of enhancing and growing our ability to serve not only this community but this region with the expansion of the fire dispatch agreement, which went into effect back in 2014, and then more recently the expansion of taking on county 911 services. So it has really grown and enhanced the operation that we have. It certainly has grown the volume of activities within the service, which again speaks to some of the challenges we've had in getting people up to the level where we feel important. And then the other area from obviously a fiscal perspective, and this is, I don't want to say this is the most important, but it speaks to the funding envelopes that have been provided in the past, where we've generally had two different operating accounts for full-time staff and part-time staff. So a majority of the staffing dollars that had been previously earmarked for part-time members are currently accounted for and would be utilized in the full-time. The small increase, which is articulated in the report, is really benefiting increased costs. And I've tried to sort of illustrate where we feel that if we move to increasing the full-time complement, it will lead to a reduction in some of the overtime hours that we are currently sort of navigating. Some of which is also based on the fact that we have, I believe it's up to 3, sometimes 4 members, I think, that are off on different sort of family leave pieces. So, that's maybe a unique piece of the story at this point. But the recommendation is that we increase that full-time complement by 3 staff members to round out our staffing model to really mirror almost what our uniform deployment model looks like, where we have 3 dedicated members per work group. That I think is going to provide security and stability in the staffing model, but also continue to enhance the services that we have. So I'll leave it at that and certainly take any questions.
Thank you, Chief. Do we have any questions for the Chief before we vote on that? Yeah, Member Grant, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, and I certainly support it, Chief. Just need to understand, look at the financial implications. You know, is it, what is the total cost? I was trying to figure out the report. Is it in fact an extra $137,000 a year? Okay, I just need to understand what that is. With the total.
Yeah, so the salary dollars, so as I mentioned in my narrative there, we have part-time hours and full-time hours. So the salary dollars would really just be taken from the part-time operating line and moved into the full-time operating line.
Okay.
So the salary dollars are really accounted for already. It's the benefit cost of 3 full-times at the levels they're currently. You know, we just picked 3 of our part-time members, most senior part-time members, and use those as I guess a placeholder for what the benefit cost increase would look like.
So really the overall cost then is the $14,000. That's it? Thank you.
Member Hahn.
I know 14,000, and thank you for clarifying that, Mayor. I wanted to ask, I know that we came on board with the Middlesex County Fire Dispatch, and I'm just looking in the budget and they pay us some good dollars. Is there any opportunity to request some increase from them?
So through the chair to Member Hahn, so the contract for the county 911 services, in the first 2 years, there was a set amount. Subsequent to that, starting in 2026, any increase is actually directly tied to the collective bargaining agreement increases. So whatever percentage increase our staff are getting is what we increase the invoicing for the county services.
So in reality, no commitment to be able to reduce those dollars because it's really paying for the salaries and benefits. Yes.
That revenue stream, in addition to the county fire, which has set agreement amounts, again, also help offset some of those staffing cost increase that we are potentially looking at.
Thank you.
Yeah, just to go on record saying that the projected total increase cost of $14,000. That's a small price to pay for the advantages that this staffing model is going to bring to our service, so I fully support it.
Member Rock, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's a small price to pay considering the market or the availability of those types of individuals in the employment area these days. So I support it as well.
Okay, well, let's make it official then. Recommendation board receives POL-2026-15 for information and further that the board approves enhancing the complement of full-time members by 3 to provide a consistent staffing model that mirrors the uniform deployment model and builds redundancy into the schedule to enhance coverage during our peak times. We have a mover, Member Brennan, a seconder, Member Hahn, all in favor? Perfect, that's carried. Okay, supposed to get an update from Mr. Leclerc, but I don't think he has joined us. So we'll move on. Number 9, an announcement, inquiries by members. Go around, Member Grantham.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, and I didn't want to interrupt when you were making your opening comments, which I thought were very eloquent. I think it would behoove this board, and I'll take input from the chief, to send a letter to the Toronto Police Service Board and whoever represents the OPP just passing on the sentiments that you expressed on behalf of the board from one board to another.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah, we can get
Yes.
something drafted up. Yep, everyone's agreement. I can start project. I can write something up and get it sent out. Narhan, any comments, questions?
I had a few. I had the opportunity to attend the conference, the PGO conference, beginning of June. And I know that just a few days ago, they have brought forward on the PGO website all of the conference minutes or notes. And I would really like to encourage our board to try to see at their, convenience, to go into the PGO and access those great conference sessions. And I do want to make a comment. Because of the name change, you will have to register again. So if you were originally an OAPSB person that would be able to go in to access those platforms, you will have to re-register, set up your name that you want to go through, and but the conference material is excellent. So I'm going to be sending you that link just where you can register. The two that I wanted to bring forward quickly to this committee is I attended what they called the Project 300, a rebuilding police governance model for the Peel region. And the Project 300 was, and I'm just going from my notes, okay? So was Peel had increased with their population growth tremendously, but had not kept up with their governance. And so what they had to do over the next number of years, they actually had to hire 1,000 more police officers, like right at the frontline police officers. Now, could you imagine that? Like, I know they're a huge regional police service, but, and they called this Project 300. They wanted to hire 300 in the first 2 years, and it was to, they had so many calls coming in, and we've just talked about some of that. The investigation work was just increased, and just the cumulative impact, they needed more resources to keep up. So what they did was they looked at different ways of recruiting. They wanted to have a culture of trust and openness and transparency. And so with their sworn officers, they wanted to restore that officer trust with their new population. And also they realized as a board that the board's responsibility under the CSPA is to keep adequate and effective policing. It's a statutory obligation for all of our board too. So when, for instance, the chief came up with, his communication request, we need to be aware that it's the board's responsibility to ensure there's adequate and effective staffing. So what I found really interesting in their recruitment strategy was they weren't looking at it as a staffing function. They were looking at it as a leadership succession planning role. And what they did was they developed partnerships with universities, colleges. They looked at, the universities have criminology as one of their departments generally. They looked at varsity athletes, professional athletes and players, and I thought that was really interesting. And they said they know how to execute in stressful situations, and we can see that even with FIFA, and they would go through an intelligence vetting system. They would also do what they called virtual reality training. And when they offered these positions, they put them on a 6-month probationary period. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. Generally it's 3 months, but this was a 6-month. they indicated if their recruit could not, just very similar to what you've just experienced in, your communication recruitment, if they could not meet the requirements of the job function within the 6 months and have a little bit of that leadership oversight, their probationary period would not continue. And they were successful in hiring the 300 officers. They had to obviously give a lot of time and effort into that. And once these officers were hired, these frontline officers were hired, then after 2 years, they invested in their leadership through York University. And I don't know exactly the courses that they took, but I really found that to be a very interesting seminar that we attended. So I wanted to share those good comments with you. The second one that I wanted to share is it was what they called at the conference, and the police chief will appreciate. They had the PGO, the governance, us as board members, attend a joint session with the Ontario Association of Chiefs of Police. They were meeting in the hotel right beside us. And so they had a session in the afternoon and it was led by Ryan Teschner, the Inspector General of Policing, and talking about how we need to continue to work together. Yes, as a board, we also have to have, the opportunity to review processes on our own, but also the importance, and he highlighted it as the board's role is to create the architecture, meaning the toolbox for policing. That would include like the budgeting and, the governance aspect. But the chief builds the structure, the operational foundations to bring this architect forward. And then the Inspector General has the oversight of the architecture. So I thought that really brought forward how that structure would work, and the opportunity to have more joint sessions. And we see that also with our regional meetings that we hold twice a year, and often there's an overlap with the sessions, and I know that they support that, especially since we realize one of the main aspects is community safety. So how do we do community safety without working together? So those were the two main ones that I really enjoyed, found value in. The other part I wanted to bring forward for inquiries by members is I know that Jennifer brought forward to all of us the Municipal Services Board review briefing on Section 220. And we also had a meeting at the conference in regards to that, and the chief can likely add to it. But that Section 220 is primarily like if you as a board had a legal employee or a CFO or an HR director, and previously or under this new act, apparently some of them belong to the bargaining unit, and so they're trying to. They feel it's just going to make some changes to the act, but they did ask, and they have also had apparently the large boards that do have these positions meet, and they've already brought forward some of their comments. They call them the Big 12 boards, and they've already met and brought forward some of their problems and their solutions. So Jennifer, very good that you brought that forward, but I want to bring forward to this board, there has been some work already being done on it, and maybe you want to bring forward a comment also, Chief.
Sure, so through the chair to Member Hahn. It was great seeing you at the conference, and I will say part of the strategy with the OACP and the new PGO is understanding that we work in concert a majority of the time, and that was the sense of bringing the two meetings, conferences together, knowing that there is this integration really of the governance role, the operational role, but planning some joint sessions. And they were actually broken down even from some of the small mid-services in one room.
I know.
With their governance, and some of the larger organizations and their governance in another room. Just because some of the conversation, some of the points to the conversation are unique to sometimes the size. And I think the example you highlighted with Peel is quite separate or different or distinct than say our local reality. In regards to the Section 220, that was incorporated into the new Community Safety Policing Act. In 30 words or less, it really is meant to remove people who are involved in bargaining or negotiations, that they shouldn't or couldn't be part of an association. So a lot of organizations will have a senior officer association, where perhaps an HR specialist, a financial specialist, a lawyer who works for a police organization, it's meant to sort of extract them out so that there isn't a perceived conflict of interest, that you're sitting at a bargaining table and you're asking for this and that, and that you're specifically going to benefit from that. That's really the end story behind the prescription as to why they've included this 220. There was a legal proceeding out of Waterloo Region, I believe, which is, lack of better terms, muddied the waters even more. But I think as this issue evolves and sort of finds its place, I think what you will see, especially those large organizations that have an HR director of finance, that they'll likely become contract employees similar to the position of a chief or a deputy, so that they aren't sort of part of a bargaining association. That's where I see it eventually ending up, but we'll see where it goes.
Thank you. Okay. Member Brennan, any comments, questions?
Nothing today.
Member Rowe?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring forward some of the material that I've collected so far, given the request that I reached out to local police services in Region 6 concerning the Crime Stoppers issue that was raised at the last meeting. I've heard back from 2 services so far, London and Sarnia. I reached out to Chatham, Windsor, and Aylmer as well, but have not heard anything back from them yet. So I do have some material. London basically gave me a name to contact. I haven't been able to do that yet because of my other activities. However, the Sarnia Police Services did send me a written policy directive that they have concerning Crime Stoppers, and an agreement that they have with the organization as well. So we'll follow up further and move forward on that.
Sure.
I wanted to comment as well on the PGO issue, Jennifer's email to the board members. There are some sessions that are going to be taking place in July. Just a second here. Yeah, July sessions for First Nations governance, board members, discussion groups, etc., and administrators and municipal staff discussion groups. I guess being relatively new to the board here, I would ask what's the policy concerning members attending these, if there are costs associated with them?
Is it the online sessions, or is it the ones that
Are these online?
I believe most of them will be online. Usually the only in-person stuff we have are the zone meetings, and then the spring and the fall conferences.
Okay.
So those will probably be all
All right.
online, and then they're at your own leisure.
Okay, well, I think it's a great idea to, for anybody that's inclined to attend these things. I know the Zone 6 meeting was quite informative, and we had the same format there where there was the board sessions breakout from the operational side, which was good. And I did have an opportunity to meet with Janine LaSalle Berglund at that meeting from the PGO. She joined the board session, and so I'm going to be following up with her and some of the same material that you were talking about. So that's my comments.
Perfect, thank you, Member Rowe. Jen has a small one there.
Just to add on to that, yesterday they started their very first administrative summit, virtual summit. So it's the start of many, and they have topics. So I did attend that one virtually, which is no cost.
Yeah.
And I found it really informative just to touch base with other administrators, secretaries. They all have very many names. Some of which are on the OPP detachment board, or some are municipal employees, some are hired by the board separately. So it was nice to kind of touch base on, I think yesterday's was roles and responsibilities, like what should I do or what do I not do? I think that was the name of it. So just a little feedback, but they are going to do one, I think once every couple months. And so I'm gonna make sure that I am a part of those, but it was good.
Chief.
Yeah, just totally unrelated to any of the comments made here. I just wanted to sort of just bring the board aware. We're about to embark on the biggest weekend of this community for the year, the arrival of the Hometown Festival. I just wanted to let the board know and our community know we have a very detailed operational plan in place, including additional staffing numbers in to ensure a presence Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at any of the events that are planned. We hope that the weather cooperates. I know the Friday night launch of the car show is a great kickoff to a great weekend. But you will see lots of police personnel around. Some on bikes, some on foot, some just patrolling. So we would just ask the community be respectful and adhere to those rules that are in place to make sure everyone has a safe and memorable time. So look forward to seeing everyone Friday night.
Perfect, thank you, Chief. Okay. That taken care of, we're going to move to our in-camera session. So we're going to, one item in accordance with municipalities procedure bylaw, approve in-camera meeting minutes from March 17th. And then one item pursuant to section 44 sub 2D, labor relations or employee negotiations to go over a memorandum of understanding that the association has put forward. We have a mover to move into closed session. Moved by member Hahn, seconded by member Rowe. All in favor? Perfect. Okay, we'll take a minute and then we'll come back.
I have to excuse myself, Chair.
Okay. Good. Okay, we're back open session here. The board met in closed session to consider matters it is permitted to do so under the Community Safety and Policing Act 2019 and as listed on the agenda. The following items were considered during the closed session. One item in accordance with the municipality's procedure bylaw to approve the in-camera meeting minutes of March 17th, 2026. The meeting minutes were approved. And then one item pursuant to section 44 sub 2D labor relations or employee negotiations. Direction was given, which will be followed up on, and that the direction given in closed session was approved. Okay, with that being done.
That's a motion.
Oh, sorry, the motion, yeah, we need someone to move in second that the direction given in closed session be approved. Moved by member Brennan, second by member Hahn. All in favor? Perfect. Okay. Schedule of meetings. Tuesday, July 21st, August 18th, Tuesday, September 15th. Just a heads up for the board, July 21st, I'll be out of country.
I might not be here
You might
either.
not be here
Subject to my social director.
Okay, so we can have discussions if there's anything upcoming for July. Did you have?
Double check.
I was just going to say, Chair, traditionally the July-August meetings, there's generally either one or the other, or really at the call of the chair if there is anything that sort of is pressing. And certainly we can, through the secretary, keep the board informed if we feel that there is something that's pending. Not that I'm trying to guide the board, but a July and August sort of break may.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. We'll have some communication, see if there's anything coming up, and then I can make the call on what we're gonna do with those meetings. And then September 15th is the one after the summer is tentatively scheduled, so. Okay. But we'll have some communication. It'll go out in the next week or two about the July meeting, so there's lots of notice. Okay, that comes up to the end. Adjournment. Do we have a mover and a seconder to adjourn? Moved by member Brennan, seconded by member Rowe. All in favor? Perfect. Thanks, everybody.